Hello everyone, I am Elizabeth Sanderson and I am your embedded librarian, and you can see me over here. I'm in your D2L shell, and I wanted to show you guys how to access library services, and we can do this directly through your class shell. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do in order to find me is to go into the discussion area. And you go ahead and click on discussions, and you are probably already familiar with this. You're probably already using it for going into the discussion forums for the class. Well, if you scroll down past the English 101 discussion forums, you'll see down at the bottom a place where there is a forum called Virtual Reference Desk. And this is where you're going to find all the information about the Oakton Library resources. So there are a few threads inside this topic, but you'll note that there's also a hyperlink where you can reach out directly to me using Oakton email. So the forums that are here are questions. Here in this forum, you can leave a reply to me and let me know if you have any particular questions about either the library, research, or even citations. And then here you have Ask a Librarian widget and hours. So the library hours are listed here. Here's the Ask a Librarian hours, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Fridays, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Additionally, you have these on-campus hours. So the library's open then. The reference librarian is not always there, but circulation can also help you with a lot of the questions that you might have, and you can always reach out to Ask a Librarian during open library hours. So just to let you see, I'm recording this fairly early in the morning, so you can see that the chat is offline. But even when it's offline, you can use this hyperlink for the chat to either search for frequently asked questions or submit a question that you might have. And as soon as it opens up, a librarian will get back to you. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and click on that just so you can see what happens. And this brings us to the Ask a Librarian search page. So you can see that you can search the FAQ or you can submit a question. And you see up here, there's some frequent questions like, for instance, how do I get a library card or an OWL card? There's a copy of my course textbook on reserve at the library. Can I check it out and take it home, etc. So these are all things that you can use and make use of when Ask a Librarian chat is not open. But when it's open, you're going to enter some text in a chat box that appears here, and a librarian will respond to you right away. So that's Ask a Library chat. And then here we have a section called Helpful Links. And these are links to some of Oakton Library's online resources. So for instance, we have a link to the Oakton Library website, to your English 101 specific research guide. So that's for your specific class. For the link that tells you what services are available for Oakton online students. Some of our social media sites, and these often have links to current events that the library is having, as well as resources and tools that you might be interested in using. There's a link to the Cite It Right guide, and this is a research guide that offers instruction and help for APA, MLA, and Chicago Manual style citations. And then here we have a link to the calendar, which shows you up and coming Oakton Library workshops. So if you click on that, you'll see that it shows you what library instruction events are happening, and you can sign up there as well. Okay, so in addition to those links, I also have provided some of the links to Research Bites tutorials. And these are also available on the Oakton Library YouTube channel, which you can find in our links to the Oakton Library and social media. These are short videos, 1 to 3 minutes long, and they have videos. I have videos of each of the following topics. And if you click on that topic, you'll note that each one of the videos is available through this link. So you can choose the subject that you're interested in and watch those, or you can just go through them and watch them directly. A couple of these are linked as well inside your English 101 guide, which is what I'm going to show you guys next. So this link, again, is available in your helpful links topic under the Virtual Reference Desk forum. And this is the introduction page. It has this beautiful little welcome to your English 101 guide. Also, again, we have the link tree, which lists the library's social media websites. The chat is here as well, and this is me, and you can email me directly here. You can also set up to make an appointment with an Oakton librarian. So if you're having struggles and you want something that's a little bit more in-depth, you can either email me directly or you can just set up an appointment, depending on what your hours are. So again, I have a more specific listing inside the guide for what the reference hours are. So you can see these are the hours for Skokie reference, research help, and for Des Plaines reference. So that gives you an idea if you're coming into campus, how that goes. Okay, so then I go a little bit in depth inside your research guide about the difference between popular, professional, and peer-reviewed sources. And then I provide links for you guys to popular sources, as well as professional and peer-reviewed sources that are inside the Oakton Library catalog. So those links will take you to directly to things like the Atlantic, the Chicago Tribune, the New Yorker, and also there's this infographic which gives you more in-depth information about the difference between opinions and news in relationship to popular sources. Also, you'll note that the Research Bites guide to popular, professional, and peer-reviewed sources is also here. The next page talks about the effectiveness of Google and the difference between things like a regular Google search and Google Scholar search, and some tips about how to use Google effectively to search for materials for your class. One of the biggest things to remember is that there are differences between Google and Google Scholar versus the library databases. So keep in mind that if you go into something like Google Scholar, it does limit your search to academic or peer-reviewed sources. However, one of the problems or the difficulties with Google Scholar is that then you need to have access to those articles. And a lot of times the sources that you are encountering have a paywall. And this is one of the reasons why searching the library databases is better, because the library databases give you access because they're paying for the access to those articles, and therefore you're able to access them. So if you go to Google Scholar, you might find a really great article that you then can't use because you don't have access. Sometimes because we're familiar with searching in Google, a good way to find articles inside the library databases can be to do a Google Scholar search on the subject that you're interested in, to find some authors who appear to be cited regularly. You can see in Google Scholar entries how many times different papers were cited. And then you can search for those authors inside Oakton Library databases and see what articles are available from those authors. You can even search for the article title itself. And if you're searching on campus and one of the on-campus computers, it will also tell you if that article is available in your institution. So that's just a couple hints about Google. So in addition, we have a listing here under Find an Article for recommended library databases for looking for articles. So we have Academic Search Complete EBSCO. These are for scholarly articles. It's a really good comprehensive database. We also have Newspaper Source EBSCO, which is more for national or international newspapers, Access World News, Nexus Uni, as well as Opposing Viewpoints in Context. And so I'm actually going to start by selecting Opposing Viewpoints in Context. So Opposing Viewpoints is a site that offers information about what people are saying about particular topics. And it can be a good place to go to get started researching on a particular topic. So I know that one of the projects or the project that you're working on for this class is to find sources on the topic of food and climate change. And so what we can do is to go ahead and search for those terms inside Opposing Viewpoints. So here I've entered food and climate change, and then I'm going to go ahead and search. So note here that there are all kinds of content on Opposing Viewpoints, academic journals, viewpoints, reference, news, magazines, images, websites, etc. So I do want to point out one particular kind of resource that you need to be careful about, which is the viewpoints. Now, the viewpoints can demonstrate to you popular viewpoints or ideas, opinions about the topic that you're searching for. At the same time, you want to be careful about using these as sources because they are opinion. They're not factual articles necessarily, and they can demonstrate bias. So in terms of sources for your paper, I would not use those as sources, but you can read them and find out what people are thinking and saying and maybe get an idea of the context of the topic. So you can see that there's a good many sources here. It has a lot of popular news sources from around the world. Reputable news sources can be found here. And you can limit your search based on publication date. So if you need something that's more recent, or what type of document, a particular publication, etc. You can also use the topic finder to discover topics and results that are related to your search. And once you've found something, an article that you would like to use, you can select that article and create a citation here using any of these editions. Select it and then copy and paste it directly into your bibliography. You do want to make sure that the form is correct, so I would double check that, cross-reference it with something like Purdue OWL, but this is an excellent resource. So just a couple things about the research page. This is the MLA page. You can find information on MLA citations as well as help here for creating MLA citations. We have the Avoiding Plagiarism page, which talks about how to avoid plagiarism and has some plagiarism checkers. And then we have the Evaluating Resources page. And this is a really good method called the SIFT method or sift the 4 moves, and you can learn how to do that. It also has fact-checking organizations and websites listed in case you use Google.